the director has said back then at the time that this was not a remake per se. It's a continuation of the very first Evil Dead movie. So that's the original intent. Now later on we'll get into like, okay, maybe something's changed now, but probably not a full-blown remake.
So I do have an issue with it saying this still took place in the 80s. How?
Well, the same way that Friday the 13th Part 7 took place in 2002.
Anyway, let's get into the movie with our opening scene.
Well, this opening scene was a good twist on the normal damsel in distress who's in trouble, because we see her running away. We think she's running away from the bad people.
She's being hunted by rednecks.
Hunted by the evil. She gets captured, and we're still on board with, oh my goodness, this innocent woman's been captured. What's going on? What are these people doing?
But then her dad shows up.
Dad shows up, and it looks like he's been brought to an occult, and he's going to sacrifice his child or something like that. Some weird storyline like that. I don't know where it's heading yet, but that's not the case.
Well, then we start hearing her say, I'm going to eat your soul, Daddy.
And suddenly we realize why the father has to set her on fire.
See, I don't know about you, but the first time she said it, when she said it in the brisk, like scared little girl voice pretty much, that frightened me a little bit more.
Pretty good.
Than when she became a fucking demon screaming. And I was like, oh.
Well, you know why? Because at that point, we're still thinking, oh, why is this father going to kill this poor daughter?
Then all of a sudden it's, I'm going to eat your soul, Daddy. I'm like, what?
And now we know who to believe. This is obviously a Deadite.
Well, they don't call them Deadites in this movie. They go back to like the original movie and just call them demons.
Yeah, that's really what they are. Deadites is just a fan name, but I'm not sure if that name holds weight within the story, within the universe.
Yeah, well, all we know is Daddy sets her off on fire. She screams, saying something about, this is why I killed your fucking whore, something like that, and then blasts her head off. It seems easier to kill the evil this time than in the original movie. Since this is supposed to be a sequel to the original movie, I will reference the original movie a little bit more.
Yeah, it's easier to kill them, and the reason why I don't, we'll talk about it more, but the reason why I don't necessarily get on board with the idea that it's a sequel is that, we're going to see completely different behavior from the evil. If it's the same evil, I don't know if it jives watching the first one recently. That said, another thing that makes it feel like the remake is we cut to, a car coming to a cabin.
Yep, car coming to a cabin. There's no bridge, by the way. They just drive over a low bankment area. So that's another difference from these two movies, where you had to drive over a bridge that was over a canyon. This one, you just drive over an embankment.
So either it's a different cabin, or I've seen some theories that, now this is kind of out there, but that the cabin itself is like evil and magical, so it can change its surrounding, its appearance at will, basically. And that's kind of the idea of how people can come to the cabin, and it's a different cabin, or things are slightly off because the evil magic inside can actually transform it. So maybe it changed the bridge into something.
The reason I can't believe that is because, again, as you just pointed out, this is supposed to take place in the 80s, right? Which tells me that, and we find out that this cabin belongs to the family of our main characters. And they've come here quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And you're telling me that these two don't remember what the area is like? That they would most likely remember, hey, we used to drive over a bridge, now it's gone. Versus, hey, we're just driving over an embankment like it's normal.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, so let's say this. If the first one is 1981, let's say this is late 80s, 1989, 8 years later. In between, let's say that after the events of the first one, whatever owner came, did some retooling, sold it to the new owner in like 83. So they've been going there back and forth for like 6 years at this point. Then you're like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, maybe between that 81 and 83, the evil had changed things around for the next owner to get deducted in.
Here's another kicker. If you remember in the original, they stated that they rented that cabin from somebody. They stated, which honestly was also loosely hinted that they didn't actually have permission to be at that cabin.
So maybe Mia and David's parents are
Already owned the cabin,
owner.
and they were just pretty much breaking and entering, which is also somewhat shown when they get there and the lock is broken, which is most likely from the previous people during that seance that happened.
So either the cabin is like a vacation home for them, or they're actively renting it out almost like an Airbnb, which wasn't really a thing in the 80s, but maybe.
I mean, they still could have rented it out to other people.
Yeah, for like little strips and stuff like that. So, okay, either way, yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible that their family has owned the cabin, but even then, if they're absentee owners, they don't go there that often. Maybe in between when they're not there, the evil changes shit around. I don't know.
Now, granted, that is to believe if this does take place in the 80s. I personally don't believe it takes place in the 80s.
I don't think so either. I think that it being a whole separate thing makes it make more sense. So, but then we're going to get, of course, Mia sitting on Ash's car, which is exactly his car from the first movie.
Right, and it's not even actually, it doesn't even look all that worse for wear as if it's been sitting for a while.
So that makes, and going by the end of part 1, that seems like, okay, well, Ash died in that one, or something happened to him, and now his car's still there. Because we know in Evil Dead 2, him and the car go back in time.
Right, whereas before you told me this was classified as a sequel, I personally thought it was just an Easter egg, and maybe that car belonged to like their grandfather or their father, and it was just a restorative project.
I think so too, because if it's a remake, you still have little Easter eggs to the original.
Mm-hmm.
You'll still have like cameos from the original actors, or you'll have stuff like that just a nod to that.
Or the fact that the cabin looks almost exactly the same as the original cabin.
Yeah, so if it's the original cabin, the same cabin, then that's actually Ash's car. If it's a different cabin, it's just a fun coincidence that the previous person there. But anybody who was there before, why would they leave their car there?
So that car, like I said, if it belonged to her parents or grandparents, say the house was not being rented, and people just broke in as per the lock being shattered open.
Well, she's comfortably sitting on the car and doesn't seem to be asking any questions of like,
that's why I'm assuming
whose car is this?
That's why I'm assuming it could be her parents or grandparents from either an older car or restorative project they were doing.
Okay. But as a fan of the series, and as fans go, it's more fun to think that, oh, that's Ash's car. So,
right.
Okay, well, we don't know. I mean, like I said, it's pretty conflicted. You can almost take it both ways. So
I mean, as you said, they could have also bought it after the events of what happened to Ash, and that car's just there, and they never got rid of it.
Very true. All right, let's talk about the characters. We
got Mia, David, Olivia, Natalie, who is David's girlfriend, and Eric.
Now let's try to put these relationships together. So obviously, David and Mia are brother and sister.
Yep.
Natalie is David's girlfriend, who probably hasn't met Mia until now.
And I'm assuming Eric and Olivia are dating together because they were sharing the same room.
Yeah, but there was no
real chemistry or any signs, so maybe they're just really good friends.
I didn't see anything that suggest they were together.
Because Olivia was there as the nurse for the situation that brought them there in the first place. Which, I got a question for you. A friend of yours tells you they want to quit drugs.
Yep.
So your first thing was to, instead of getting her in rehab, instead of getting her to a hospital.
Yep.
Where they're better prepared, better equipped with this kind of stuff.
Yep.
Because there is actually a way you can make it to where a family member can hold all rights over this family member who's going through withdrawals.
Okay.
Because obviously, if that family member has rights to themselves, they start going through withdrawals. Hey, let me the fuck out of here.
Right.
Well, either way, but their plan was to instead go to a cabin in the woods, isolate themselves, while a known drug addict who has apparently attempted to quit before,
and she OD'd recently,
legally died for a few minutes.
Yep.
And all you most likely brought with you is painkillers, which I can understand the painkillers, but do y'all really think this was a good idea?
This isn't any kind of medical guide that this is a good process, I don't think. And what's crazy is you talk about the family thing, but the problem is the brother has been kept in the dark. He knows nothing about the OD. He doesn't know about any of this stuff. He just comes to help his sister, But then he's getting all this information about, like, what do you mean? What do you mean she OD'd? What do you mean you want to keep her here? Like, if she wants to leave, we gotta leave. So
Well, one thing I did notice is that they kind of give you a timeline of when her addiction started, which was around the time she was left alone with her mother while the mother was slowly dying of cancer.
okay, yep,
So it seems so from the way they were talking about it, it seems like David ran off to go work. Mia was left alone with the mother to see what was happening to her mother, and she just mentally couldn't take it and started going on to drugs. So I do kind of like that they added a little timeline there, because then it kind of tells us how long she's been on drugs.
interesting, yeah. So they're here at the cabin. So basically they're not really like a friendship group, but they know each other.
So from what I could gather,
Oh, Eric's a teacher.
right, what I could gather of a lot of the backstory we kind of get snippets of, Eric and David did used to be really good friends.
Yeah.
Eric even said, "Hey, he used to be my friend."
Yeah, they have.
He even said, "I don't see us ever rekindling that."
They have some tension there for sure.
Yeah, and it sounds like David pretty much just up and left.
Yep.
The whole town, the whole friend group when the mother got sick.
Because he met Natalie too. So.
Well, yeah, but still, Olivia really, I feel like Olivia's connection is more to Eric, even though David does seem to know her. But she is supposed to be their nurse.
But she's also connected to Mia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So either way, she's there really to be the nurse because that's her job in real life.
Yeah.
Now, with this cabin belonging to David and Mia's parents, can you safely say you would, if your parents owned a cabin in the woods, you would know if there was a fucking cellar underneath your house?
I think in the first walkthrough that would have been explored.
No, instead he's like, "Hey, I think someone broke in. I'm going to look." Looks around the whole house except for the cellar.
Yeah. I think that them having been in this cabin many times before, the parents owning it, it kind of kills like the idea of any mystery here. If it's their first time there, then this can be like a mystery, but they should already know all this
Yeah,
stuff.
but honestly, this part is what kind of really annoys me with this situation. I understand you want to keep her isolated so that way she can't go to a drug dealer and get her a fix.
Yep.
However, when you find blood on the floor leading to the cellar, and when you go down to the cellar and you see cats hanging, I don't know about you, but I'm saying fuck this project. We'll just get her into a hospital.
I'm already in the car halfway back. And at this point, there's probably a way back at this point.
Well, yeah, because
So-
it hasn't even started raining yet.
Well, not only that, but there's no...
The evil hasn't even
Evil
come
hasn't
yet.
been unleashed. I assume that when the evil's unleashed, the first thing it does is it goes and kills their way out, basically. Whether
Yeah.
it's taking out the bridge or whatever. But
Still, she's complaining about the smell. Olivia goes, "Oh, well, you're just highly sensitive." It's like, then shouldn't you be wondering what she's smelling?
yes.
If she's highly sensitive, y'all don't smell anything rotten, so it's not in your vicinity. She's saying she's smelling something rotting, which is those cats in the basement.
Should raise an eyebrow.
Right. And then you pull up the rug and there's blood leading down there. It's like, I'm sorry, I don't care what we're doing at this point. She's going to a hospital. We'll just set it up to where David is the only one who's allowed to let her out.
And that's what they should have done in the first place.
Right.
I don't know where this cabin plan came from, but it's completely ridiculous.
Well, apparently they tried to do an intervention, I think they said in Flint, but it didn't work because after 8 hours, she said, "Fuck this, I'm done." I'm like, well, at the same time, y'all also let her.
Yeah.
And in this kind of situation, when someone's going through withdrawals, you do have to stop them.
Yeah, but it's got to be a better way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, in every Evil Dead movie, inevitably, somebody has to go and read from the damn book.
Which I do. I got 3 things about that. I know Eric's a teacher, so obviously he likes to learn. Okay, cool. First, why would you... What was the question I put there? Why mess with a book with a demon in the name?
I don't know.
Okay. Second, why read anything from it?
Well, the problem is when he opens the book, it says on the pages,
Don't read this.
"Don't read this. You're in danger. Close the book." Okay. with the other movies here, sometimes there's not enough of a warning when they read it.
But there was
it.
no warning
There's no
on
warning.
the books.
This is the first time we're smart enough to where like whoever encountered the book was like leaving messages of like, "Hey, stay away from book. Do not read." And he's like, "You know what? I think I should read from the book."
And the third thing is, which I kind of already asked while we weren't recording, actually. The third thing from the book is, why is our demon summoning only 4 words versus a paragraph from the previous?
See, that I didn't remember. They used the same words,
They used,
but I don't remember if there was more words.
there was definitely more words,
Okay.
unless they just said the same 4 words over and over again. Because I remember there being a longer passage for the demon to actually be summoned.
Could it be that there's different passages that do sum it up?
Was just a different demon than what we faced in the first one?
That would make sense if there's a different summation thing that brought about a different demon, and that's why it acts different.
Well, that would probably... Well, I guess that would explain it, but then why would a demon... I guess this demon is so weak it only gets 4 words in his passage, so that's why it wants to show it's more serious than our previous.
But we did also say, we established that they're easier to kill.
Yeah.
So maybe 4 words, easy to kill. 11 words? Oh, man, we're in trouble.
A whole paragraph?
Well, listen, apparently the evil immediately senses who to possess, because poor Mia is going to really...
Well, yeah, and I
Go off
kind
the
of
ledge
like that because, I mean, they did it in the first one too, because demons can possess a person easier when their mental capacity is shattered pretty much. Hence, someone who's going through withdrawals.
Cheryl, or just anything anxiety, because Cheryl obviously...
Yeah, she had bad anxiety.
Yep.
So I kind of like that little detail that they went after her first.
Yeah, it made sense to me because I think the evil, obviously noted like, okay, this is going to be the easiest person to take control of, given her current mental state. So.
Right. So Mia wants to leave. No one's letting her, and nobody notices she grabs the keys.
Yep.
I heard her grab the keys. You're telling me no one else heard her grab the keys? Keys make a really distinct jingle.
They do.
So, what, did Mia just run so fast that the floor was creaking so loud that no one could hear the jingle?
I don't know.
Well, they heard the revving.
Oh, I gotta hear that. So, no. It's too late. Mia's already gone.
Yep, Mia's gone. She crashes, and then we get our 2013 version of our tree rape / possession scene. This one's a little bit more uncomfortable than the previous.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it didn't look as painful like a giant tree trunk beating you down there, but...
So one thing we should establish is that apparently the director consciously wanted to do as many practical effects as possible as an ode to the first movie. Didn't want to go down the straight CGI route.
I'm glad he did that because the CGI that is used in this sucks.
Yeah,
Which I think was really only one scene.
I understand CGI in like superhero movies and stuff because of the scope of things. There's certain shots you need. For horror movies, though, man, if you can just do a practical, that's the way to go. So Mia taking a shower.
Yeah, she's taking a shower and decides to burn herself.
And suddenly, David is starting to get suspicious that maybe my sister...
Well, I mean...
something's going on with her.
He definitely figured that out when he finds her dog dead.
So, we'll just be honest. Mia goes crazy, pretty much.
Yep.
She has, like, the demon eyes now, basically.
Oh, yeah, she has the demon eyes. She jumps Olivia, pukes in her face, and Olivia throws her into the cellar. Where we pretty much get Mia as Cheryl for the rest of the movie, really.
So, actually, at this point in time, David is still thinking, like, medically something's going on, panic attack. He's telling Olivia to go get in the shop, basically. So, Olivia leaves. And Eric, who now remembers about that damn book that he read from, he actually suggests, hey, I don't think this is a panic attack, David. I think this is something to do with witchcraft.
Why would you think that, Eric? Could you have read from that book, you dumbass?
But David's still like, I can't believe that David would still, because think about this. The door had opened and she had demonic voice saying, you're all going to die tonight. How's David still like, my sister, man, she's just anxiety. Like, withdraws. She has a demonic voice. How would her voice change?
Yeah,
David?
sometimes when I don't get Mountain Dew, man,
None
I
of these-
start sounding like Tony Todd.
None of these people have seen. These people have seen like The Exorcist. I would at least be thinking, she's possessed by an exorcist.
By an exorcist?
She's possessed by a demon, and we need an exorcist. All right. Her head should start spinning around. 3 times.
All right.
Poor Olivia in the bathroom is going to
Start cutting
basically-
off her face.
Yeah.
And then when she sees Eric stupidly falls and almost breaks his back. They're giving Olivia time to get on top of him and start stabbing the shit out of him.
Now this is my kind of Evil Dead, because it's uncomfortable, brutal. It makes me cringe to see her keeps trying to stab his eye with a needle,
Right.
stabbing through the glasses. Oh,
And then the syringe breaks with the damn blade still in his cheek.
yeah. I'm trying to think about.
I'm trying to figure out why he didn't, I don't know, put his hands up to defend himself.
I think he was in shock. I think he only fights back at the very end when he's like, I'm gonna have to kill her. Like,
Right.
she's trying to kill me.
Which, again, shows how easy these things are to kill. Because I refuse to write down that Olivia was dead after he bashes her brains in. Because I was thinking, okay, this is Evil Dead. That doesn't kill them. We never see her again in this whole movie.
Now she's gone.
So whatever demon's going after them really is weaker than the one from the first one, because
They're almost more like regular zombies and not deadites.
right.
It's true. Basically, these are deadites where one-on-one with them, you have a good chance to kill them. You just need any kind of weapon, and you could probably take them out.
I mean, sure, they still take a lot of damage, but it seems like take off any good part of their body to the point where they can't fight back, then whatever demon's possessing them leaves and I guess goes back to Mia.
And maybe Mia as
Kinda
as
controlling
a
them?
demon is the stronger one.
Right.
The other converts don't seem to be as effective.
Yeah, maybe they're not demons, but I guess this demon's some kind of vampiric zombie demon. This demon definitely seems like it infects people versus actually having other demons become the host of whoever's in them.
Yeah. So at this point, finally, David and Eric Eric's already pretty much there in terms of like something weird's going on. But now David's finally caught on board with the idea like, hey, there's some demonic shit going on.
And Natalie goes back into the cabin to try and get stuff for Eric when Mia starts. But for one, Mia busts through the damn cellar door.
Here's the thing.
Run.
Natalie doesn't even know Mia. I understand that that's your boyfriend's sister.
Right.
But for her to be like, Mia, I'm coming down there to help you. Really? This seems like over the top stupid.
Honestly, when I first saw this scene, I thought it was going in a completely different direction.
Really?
Well, they definitely were going with kind of demon weird sexual vibes with this scene.
Yeah, 100%.
And then all of a sudden, I seriously thought that after she bit like her hand, that Mia was then going to bite her on the leg because she was already there, trying to be suggestive about something. But instead, just kisses her. I'm like,
She kisses a lava full of blood into her mouth.
well, yeah, which is what eventually infects Natalie into demons.
Now, if we call her Mia Demon, she has quite the funny commentary as she's attacking people.
Yeah.
Calling people whores, calling people bitches, pretty much saying everything to piss people off. So
Well, I think the funniest line she says in this whole movie, which is the only one that got me laughing, is what she says to David right after Natalie's attack.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to say it just because of what it entails, but
So it's a lot. She's pretty crazy.
and the way she says, I don't know if they just kind of sped up how the actress said it, or the actress literally spoke that fast to be able to make, because they had to play with her voice to make her sound demonic.
Yeah, and let me give props to the actress who played Natalie, because up until this point, she's been given probably in the movie so far the most bland character. Mm-hmm. Really nothing to do, pretty much. Her descent into becoming a Deadite.
First,
She has to do a lot of physical stuff then. So
Well, the first thing she does is cuts off her arm because you slowly see the hand start deforming her whole arm.
and she sold that well. And what's funny was, again, Mia Demon being like, "No, don't do it."
no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
But then like laughing at her after she actually does it, like, your arms got cut off.
Well, it's almost like she. Honestly, I feel like Mia Dima was just egging her on because, like, I already know you're infected,
Yeah.
but I want to see how much damage you do to yourself before you actually fully turn.
It's like if cutting off your arm is actually going to save you, then cut off your arm. If 10 minutes later you're a full blown deadite anyway, regardless, like, oh, why do you cut your arm off? But you had the cool shot of like she didn't fully cut her arm off at first, and then
it just slinks off.
Just funny stuff.
No, and then yeah, according to the book, there are 3 ways to purify in this movie. You got fire.
Yep.
You got dismemberment, which is what we're used to. I didn't know that was a purification technique, but I just thought it was a way to destroy the body so the demon can't really do anything.
Purification.
And then we get a new one for this. I guess fire is technically new. But we get one for this that kind of new because it keeps the host alive if done right. And that's being buried alive.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You'd think it would have to add something like holy ground. Because this is a demon, you just bury. We saw this in the first movie. He buried fucking Linda, and she comes back beating the hell out of Ash.
That's true. Yeah.
Then again, in the first movie, it was literally just dismemberment. So I guess it's as we're going off of a whole new demon they're going up against with different rules.
The different rules thing is like basically. All right. Well, now we'll skip ahead a second and just give a quick spoiler about Evil Dead Rises. Not really a spoiler, but what the director has explained basically is that there's obviously 3 books in Army of Darkness. Mm-hmm. And he suggests that pretty much, okay, there's 1 book in the Mia world, 1 book in the Ash world, and then Evil Dead Rises is going to have its own book. Mm-hmm. So now that kind of kills the whole, it's a direct sequel to the first one. It means it's in the universe, but it's its own story with its own book.
Right.
Now you can be like, with that, it opens up to be like, okay, these are all the rules of this specific book. Now it makes sense. Everything's different. It's not connected to Evil Dead 1 in that way. And now I can get on board and be like, okay, that actually does tie everything in a way that makes more sense than it being a direct continuation of the first one. So if this is a different book, then, yeah, there's going to be different mythology to it and stuff, right? So,
Yeah, so Eric's trying to talk David into killing Mia.
Good idea. That's what.
And David's like, we're not going to kill anybody. He's like,
bro, have you seen I was like, bro, have you been around the last 20 minutes of the movie? Like, things have escalated to a point where that's an actual reality you may have to face, David.
hell, did you not know that Eric's already killed Olivia? Technically, you're not even the one killing them. They're already dead at this point.
David's still in some reality where they're going to call an Uber driver. He's going to come pick them up, and they're going to drive off to freedom. So.
Yeah, well, Possessed Natalie decides to make sure that doesn't happen by disarming the damn nail gun into everybody, especially Eric.
Like, the fun thing with Eric is
he gets fucked.
We always say, though, I always think that the person who unleashes the problem, causes the evil, causes the problem to immerse his friends in that. If you think about it from a karma standpoint, that person probably deserves the most punishment. And that wasn't lost on the writer of this movie because of any horror movie I've seen, and this dude gets fucked up and tortured the entire movie. Like, I don't know if he deserved all this, but he takes a beating.
Apparently, this movie thought he did.
They were like, how much can we do to him before killing him? To where he's just in pain the whole movie. This dude's in consistent agony.
Well, and at first I thought, okay, that's probably the end of the scene, and then right before Natalie starts crowbarring David.
Oh, including. Oh well, actually no.
She gets shot by the nail gun again.
Now listen, Eric. I know you want to be a good friend. You want to save your pal David, right? In that specific moment, I think I just play dead because she turns her attention to you with the crowbar, and now she's walking towards you, and yeah, you're gonna shoot nails into her, but it's not really.
Hell, he ran out of nails,
and now she's gonna proceed to beat the shit out of you, including your hand.
Her hand gets ripped in half.
My goodness.
That made me cringe. Not even the whole him. I mean, the way she beats him with his crowbar is just brutal in this one.
Yeah.
But damn, just what happened at hand. I was like, ah, ha, ha, ha.
No, my question is, this could have easily been avoided. I don't understand why, on the other side, why is David taking 7 minutes to get the shotgun to stop her? It's like, beats him. Finally, when she's about to give the death blow, all of a sudden, here comes David to the rescue. I'm like, what you been doing the last 4 minutes, buddy? Like, you could have saved your friend's hand.
Loading the gun.
Loading the gun for 4 minutes.
Which then Natalie comes back after only having her hand shot off and proceeds to actually die. So I guess whatever demonic STD that was in her said, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Yep. And talk about it more in a little bit, but of all the characters, for the most part, David seems like the most good-hearted person who is going to like go through the most unnecessary, like, he has to kill his girlfriend. This is happening. He's just being a good brother to his sister. I come out of this movie sympathizing with David more than the rest of the characters, I would say.
Finally, David's like, okay, I'm going to end this.
Yep.
Starts pouring gas everywhere and then decides I can't kill my sister.
Damn it, Dave. We've already been through this.
So he gets everything prepped. He digs the place he's going to bury her. He gets the shocky thingy on the syringe so that way he can jumpstart her heart. And then he gets tranquilizer. No idea where. I guess it's the painkillers that he just shoved up to max.
Yep.
And then proceeds down to the cellar.
Yep.
Into a flooded room.
Yep.
Which is obvious trap room.
Mm-hmm.
And proceeds to now get his ass handed to him by his sister.
Absolutely. Mortal Kombat! Dun, 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 dun,
And
dun,
he
dun.
would have died had Eric not jumped in to save her, but that's also the final stab that Eric could take.
Look, man, I mean, I'm not for putting someone out their misery, but what kind of quality of life was Eric going to have going forward? I mean, now, in terms of him dying, it was a very important thing we have to talk about with Eric's death, let's call it.
Yeah, so Eric dies and Eric dies in David's arms.
Whoa, okay. Well, now let's say with I'm using like the two fingers here.
He's doing the air quotes.
He dies I'm saying it very loosely. So what actually happens is he gives his supposed last breath, and now suddenly he's not moving. They're looking at each other, and David just surmises, my friend has died. And in that moment he says, well, I got to move on with my life. I'm going to take his body and put him face down into the water. Now, he didn't check his pulse. He didn't really check to make sure he's dead. I mean, we know in the world people pass out from pain a lot of times. He could have been unconscious. So my question to you is, Nick, is did David just murder his friend? Did he actually just kill Eric?
So personally, for a comedy standpoint, I want to say yes. But personally, I'm going to say no, because right before he died, when he was giving his last breaths, you could hear how hard it was for him to actually squirt out those last words, how hard it was for him to breathe, which tells me that last stab was into his lungs, where he was slowly suffocating because air was escaping out his lungs versus actually going to his brain.
Okay. So most likely that, with a small, slight possibility that he passed out and then David proceeded to drown him. Okay.
You just want to paint David as the bad guy at this point.
No, I like David's my favorite character. I'm just saying. I thought
David's your favorite character. Why are you painting him as a murderer?
I just think it's a little irresponsible for him to not check the pulse. That's all. Just make sure. It takes 2 seconds, man.
He's also got to save his sister.
He's taking basic CPR classes, I'm sure.
He's got to save his sister.
All right, let's get back to that, because he does save his sister.
Yep, he buries her. She tries to shit talk him into really killing her at this point, not just burying her. And he finishes burying her. The tree that was on fire goes out.
Yep.
Which I guess signifies the demon is gone.
We're at our happy ending, because she thanks David for being a good older brother, and he says, just wait outside, and I'm going to go in and, get the keys or whatever, and we're getting the hell out of here. Back to civilization. Although, I don't know how they're going to get past that, the whole water thing. I mean,
they're expecting the water to have washed away by now, since it's been a couple hours since the rain stopped.
Beautiful.
Even though usually it takes about a day. Have you not seen how Rappahannock River goes down so slowly?
Yeah. Well, hopefully for them. But either way, the good thing is the evil is gone. The demon is gone. We live happily ever after. They're probably going to drive off to a Waffle House, have waffles. Why are you shaking your head? Syrup, eggs.
So you see what happened was...
What?
Is Eric's body really wasn't destroyed, so the demon just left Mia and went into Eric's dead body.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. And proceeds to stab David in the throat. And then David makes the...
Wait a minute. You're telling me Eric stabbed David in the throat?
Yes.
I know why.
Why?
Revenge. Because David killed him. This was pure, unadulterated revenge. He's getting back at his murderer.
Nope.
The man who killed him, he's getting revenge back on them.
Well, then he should kill himself, because if it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have been in that mess in the first fucking place.
Fair point. Poor David has a screwdriver in his throat, and now he's leaking out blood, and as you said, he makes a decision, which we'll talk about
right now. He makes a decision to give the keys to Mia, pushes Mia outside the door, sits at the door, and then shoots the gasoline can and makes the whole building go ablaze.
All right, so...
Why didn't he just do this on the outside where he could have survived?
Whenever someone sacrifices themselves in a horror movie, you always think to yourself, was the juice worth the squeeze? Did you end the whole demon thing by doing this? Was it worth giving your life for? From his perspective, I think probably the thing was he thought he was already dying anyways. Leaking out blood, he's like, hey, there's no first aid kit nearby. Probably gonna die anyways. Might as well do something heroic.
I bet he had one in his Jeep. First aid kit.
Probably. But he probably thinks he's saving his sister as he's dying. So, okay.
Well, I do. So there is a kind of a continuity error, in my opinion, with this movie at this point. So the book does say...
Oh, one continuity error?
So the book does say that this demon needed a total of 5 souls in order to revive in its physical form.
Yes.
Does someone want to tell me how this thing is revived with only 4? Because when Mia technically died and came back, her soul went back into her body, which means this demon lost that soul.
Yep.
So how did we get 5 out of 4?
I don't know.
Okay, well, we get a pretty bloody climax when it starts raining blood.
Now, visually, this whole ending is awesome. You get so much blood. Everything's covered in blood. This is, again, the Evil Dead that I like, where it's just like carnage, hardcore, in your face, not tame, not in, just a good ass fun ending.
Also, this demon must be really hot human being, because the demon was burning Mia at every time it touched her.
Hot to the touch.
Hot to the touch. So during this whole thing, Mia gets the chainsaw, gets a few machete slashes to some uncomfortable spots, like her kneecap.
Yep.
I cringe at that.
Same.
Not so much the arm.
Yeah, there's, again, certain things are just uncomfortable to watch.
Like the kneecap.
Oh.
And then this demon, after losing its feet, pushes the Jeep on top of Mia's arm.
Ah.
I think we're about to get a Ash reference with this upcoming part where she quite literally rips her arm off. She really wanted to get from under... at first, she looked like she was going to go with the chainsaw, but couldn't get it revved up. So she just rips her arm out. It's like, do you know how hard that is, considering the fact, bone?
Very hard. Very hard, very tough, very painful.
Yeah, well, I guess probably not as painful as what happens to the demon.
Good use of the chainsaw.
So, what did she tell us? Suck it, demon face?
Yep.
Or some stupid shit like that.
I think
shoves
so.
it right in its mouth.
Ooh. As it drowns into the blood.
As it drowns into the blood and starts sinking into the ground, back to where it came, because then it realizes, oh, wait, I shouldn't be out here yet. I don't have 5 souls.
Yes. Well, all is well that ends well. The book is still there. We see it with a close-up.
Yep.
Mia's going to get away somehow.
She's just going to walk and hope someone finds her before she stars and dies.
Yeah, I was going to say, how's she going to explain this to the authorities?
Hey, ma'am, how's your arm gone and you haven't bled out? You see, what happened was... I'm guessing they don't get cell signal down there. Oh, wait, it's the 80s.
Might be. Baby. It's possible. Final thoughts. Man, I gotta say, I didn't believe it, but so far they are correct. Evil Dead so far is a model of consistency. There's been not one bad movie in the bunch so far. The pluses for the movie are that of all the Evil Dead movies, I feel like it's the most gritty. It feels like a really gritty, grungy, dark. There's some actual scares. It's a tense movie. It doesn't go for laughs at all, in my opinion.
Even though it has a few one-liners.
It has a few one-liners, which makes it kind of Evil Dead-ish, but it doesn't go full-blown. It's the closest in tone to the very first Evil Dead, I'd say. There's no Ash, which is okay. I mean, you can do different characters. Special effects, mostly practical. It's the most fake blood ever used in a movie, and that shows. They put all the blood on screen. So, I mean...
It was all from the rain.
Yeah. So I like the effects mostly. Every actor, I feel like, got at least like one moment to kind of do something where they shined. Some cringy moments in terms of just like, oh, don't stab him there. Don't do that. Just made you cringe, which, again, that's what you want out of an Evil Dead movie. So the only negatives I would say is that it's like it does have a very weird mythology that's like set apart from the other ones. To our point, the Deadites feel more like zombies from like Night of the Living Dead, basically. It doesn't really feel like Deadites. And they die pretty easily. Characters are pretty one-note tropes, as you said. I think you like David, you like Mia. I can't ever say I really care for Eric at any point. I mean, he's just getting his ass beat the whole movie. Rightfully so. I'm going to go ahead and give it 3 stars, too. I think that if you consider remake, it's one of the best remakes, I would say, of horror movies.
And he probably will never watch it again. Anyway.
Well, maybe. I mean, as a marathon, I'll watch it again.
But anyway, so for me, my negatives is pretty much characters. You know, we got bland characters. They're all one trope and done. We got a few inconsistencies with the movie, which some movies have it, some don't. But at the same time, this one really didn't feel like the inconsistencies were too bad. Overall, I like the atmosphere the movie gives. I like the reason they're there, even though I don't like the fact that they stayed after finding what they found.
Yeah. A book that says, do not read me under any circumstances. Close this book. Burn this book. Burn it.
Right. But again, that adds to Eric being that trope of character.
Yeah, I guess so.
But anyway, so overall, I actually have to give this one a 3 as well, which I think the only other one I've given a 3 to is the first one. And it's because it's...
I think you gave Evil Dead 2 a 3 also.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's mainly because this one, I like the fact that it's straight horror. Anyone who's watched us for a long time knows I prefer straight horror over horror comedy.
True.
So this one's definitely a 3 for me. It's a fun watch if you don't mind the grits and the blood and the gore and the...
I'll say is don't eat a meal while watching it. Like
I was eating orange chicken.
I was drinking tea while watching it, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go make some eggs, and I was like, I'm not eating eggs watching this. I don't want anything fried, oily. This is like, whoa, my stomach was a knot, so I just drank.
Oh, there was a lot of blood goo.
Nick was over here with his General Tso's orange chicken, like, yeah, more gore. Oh,
you're damn right,
Jeez.
And it was saucy.
Next week, folks, Evil Dead Rises. We're fresh out of theater. We've seen the movie. If you do go to a cabin, just don't go to a cabin. I'm just going to keep the advice very simple. You got any advice for them?
If you go to a cabin and you find a bloody trail leading into the cellar with a bunch of dead cats and a burned pole, for one, that house is probably not safe. It could collapse at any second because that pole, I doubt, has any good stability since it looks like it's in the center of the fucking house. And the other thing is, just leave. It's not worth all your lives. There are easier and safer ways to get someone to go through a withdrawal.
There's probably a Chick-fil-A nearby.
Yeah, exactly. Go get some Chick-fil-A. I guarantee you that the smell of the Chick-fil-A sauce is a lot better than the smell of those rotting cats.
I would think so.
So, as always, folks, y'all don't have to get out of here, but you do got to go outside today. It's really nice.
Also, tell us in the comments what you think of this movie, Evil Dead 2013. Tell us how you feel about it, and we'll see you next week.